Last time we left you off making the blackcurrant syrup, and this is the results of it, using up what we have and enjoying every minute of it. I also made a quick quiche because we were heading out for a day trip, because this is the second half of the holiday that Stephen and I had, where we were off the paid job and just thoroughly enjoying ourselves. So it's just a little adventure with us before we get on to the rest of the jobs on the smallholding. That's so far down. So we've got the round tower, there was a well in there. This is the great chamber in between the two stairwells. And then this bit here was the great hall. And then it says the tower stood above the service areas. So this would have been, obviously all of this would have been built up. It said the tower stood above the service areas, which separated the great hall from the kitchen range, and the remains of the passages and storerooms, butchery and pantry can be still seen, which I'm guessing is this. So this area behind me was the kitchen. And then over there, so kitchen here, and over there is the oven, that huge archway we've just been over to. So these must have just been rooms and passageways leading to, I mean, they're quite small, I guess. Wow. For you, dear. Chicken drumsticks turned out nice. Oh, the ice is still icy. And then quiche.
How long are we stopping?
And then apple. Last year's apple chutney, some cranberry mustard, and some strawberries. Enjoy. Test for distance.
Let's do this. Riding along the automobile. My baby beside me at the wheel. Right, watch out, sheeplets. Need to get a horn on this. Come on. Right, welcome back to another video. Just testing out a new bit of kit. We've had too many people complaining they can't hear our dulcet tones, so we've invested in a bit of kit. See if you can hear us all right over the lawnmower. So we're just going to start in the field. The other day I got loads done. We've just got a little bit more to do so that we can extend Sonic's bit. And while I'm down here, I'm going to finish this off. Tracy's got some work to do while I'm down here doing this. And then this afternoon, I'm going out shooting for a while. Hopefully get a few pigeons, because they're on the fields at the minute, and get some free meat in the freezers. Right, the rest of the garden, or the rest of the field even, when I cut it, we left this plug in, and then it just leaves the cuttings on the floor. But we don't want Sonic eating the cut grass that we're doing, so we just have to take this plug out and then it'll just collect the cuttings into the box and we can dump them out the way so none of the animals can get them. Let's go. Right, so we're just going to extend Sonic's little paddock a little bit at a time because we don't want him to get too much grass all at once because he is susceptible to problems when he gets too much grass. So he's got this little bit at the minute which he's stripped bare, so we're just going to extend it by 3 meters, and then when he stripped this bit we'll just keep moving it along every 3 meters. And the reason why we're doing it here, he's got plenty of shade under here. I'm just going to bring me saw down, cut that off, so I don't want no poke his eyes out or out like that, no more problems. So that's the only reason we're doing it, and then just keep him off the rest of the field. Right, well, we've just got finished up with that. I know it looks like a bit of a pain in the arse to do just for that much, but that's what's best for the animals, and I suppose that's what you have to do at the end of the day. What's best for the animals, not what's best for us. So like I say, we'll just leave him on this bit, and then after a couple of weeks when he's grazed that down, we'll just keep moving him along. Hello, Pigeon. Right, we've just got back from a couple of hours out shooting. Nice successful haul. So I've ended up with 16 nice fat wood pigeons. So all we're going to do with these, to show you what we do with them, because they're super easy to pluck. So we're just going to pull the breast feathers off them, exposing the breasts, just like that. And then we'll just take the breasts off and leave the skin on. I'll show you what they look like when we're done with that. Right, so we've just got finished processing the pigeons, and that we end up with a nice plate full of pigeon breast. Just thought while I had my mate here, I'd put him to work, and it's half the job.
So for this meal we're using some of the potatoes from the garden, some of our own cranberry mustard, and the meat in there is pork mince. We are down to 2 bags of pork mince left. Come on in. We're already full. Haven't even touched the sides. Literally haven't even touched the sides. They are everywhere, which is fantastic. And that's just off one gooseberry bush. There's more on this one. The top lot have gone from the blackbirds, taking them, but I'm more than happy to share. For these, you can see underneath there's green gooseberries. You might not be able to see on the camera here. And this one, the top ones have gone from the blackbirds, but again, amongst the thistles, which we will get when it all dies back, there's loads more. But I want to go and weigh what's in here so we know what we're working with for however many of these I get. Goodness me, it's another warm one, and I've got a hoodie on because it was actually cold earlier. Not cold, but you know what I mean, a lot cooler. Can you tell what it is yet? I've been and picked a whole bunch of sage. Haven't weighed it out or anything like that. It's still on the stems, so I'll take all of the leaves off because we are going to make some sage salt. You might remember that we have been using, I've actually got it here, that wasn't planned, but perfect timing. It's a little bit damp from being outside. The wild garlic salt that we did earlier on in the year, and we absolutely love that. So we thought, do you know what, for autumn and winter, sage salt sounds absolutely fantastic. Not only because it sounds fantastic, but we have got a huge, absolutely humongous sage plant out the front of the house. So I'm going to get these leaves off. And last time I didn't cut the wild garlic up enough, I didn't shred it. So it took a bit more time to process in the blender. I'm actually going to use this sort of a shake blender thing for this, because I found that was what was best when I did the wild garlic last time. I'll show you once I've got all these leaves ready. Right, this is what we're left with. These are all the sage leaves. I haven't washed them and dried them because I do find that that can be a bit problematic, and I've left some of the stalks on. So I'm going to weigh these now. I think we're going to go for just under 100 grams, 100 grams thereabouts. So let's get the salt and we'll get blitzing. There we go, it's gone a really dark green. It took quite a bit of blitzing, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I'm going to try 1 to 2, so 200 grams of rock salt. I'm hoping that this should all just work out in the one jug. Let's see. Right, I've blitzed it all together. So it's 200 grams of rock salt, 100 grams of sage, fresh sage. You can dry it and then add it, but I have preferred with the wild garlic to do it as fresh rather than dried. I think it keeps the taste a lot better. Now, I don't know if I'm sold on this one. It certainly doesn't smell. What does smell as nice as garlic, to be fair? Anyway, still obviously going to do it, and we'll still use it. It's supposed to be really nice for things like pork related or anything that you'd on roasties, all that kind of stuff. But I'm smelling definitely not a summer smell. And like I say, I'm not even definitely sold on it yet. So, but the proof will be in the eating of the pudding, as they say, or the eating of the roasties with salt on. So I'm going to spread these out on the dehydrator trays. I found my sheet, so we don't need to use bacon parchment anymore, and then put them on 40 degrees Celsius. I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 hours, something like that. We'll check it before we go to bed. Now, it's definitely not as wet as the wild garlic, so I can't remember the ratio, of course, and I haven't gone back to the video to check that I used for the wild garlic, but maybe that's not such a bad thing if this isn't quite as strong. I do love sage, but it doesn't seem to smell like sage anymore, which sounds a bit weird. Right, a bit more on there, I think. So this probably won't take as long to dry, given that it's not clumping as much as the wild garlic did. So we'll go for 4 hours initially. You won't be able to over dry it. It should be absolutely fine. Right, I'm not adding any value now, am I? Let's just get it in, Tracy. Goodness me, that could do with a clean. Now it's getting later on and I have got nothing prepared for tea, but we are going out again tomorrow. We're going to head to Goathland and get the train from Goathland to Gromond. I'll show you a little bit of that. Don't worry, I won't do too much and be kind of a travel vlog. That's not what it's meant to be. But point being, we need something to take on a picnic, and standard around here is a quiche. So I think what I'll do is just make a larger quiche and have some tonight, and I'm going to grab some new potatoes to go with it, so that we can have those as well as a side if people want, if they need something a little bit more substantial. Failing that, they will keep absolutely fantastic cold the next day or the day after even. So you can see we've harvested a few plants already. This one's actually been taken off and not being composted, so that's why it's looking like that. And we're going to pull this one here. Not you. That one's insisting on being a part of this. Oh my goodness. Come on. Oh, that was disappointing because they all ripped off and I fell over nearly. Right, let's have a look what we've got. Look. You can be another day, just not today. Blooming nettles in here as well. Oops, that's that one, sorry. Didn't mean to do two, but it'll all get eaten. Right, that one belongs to the next plant along, so I'll cover that back up, and then I'm going to grab these. Some of them have got this. It's nothing to worry about, it just looks unsightly, and unfortunately these can be eaten without peeling. But having that obviously means that you're going to want to peel them. It's just scab, and it's generally caused because of the dry weather, basically. So they haven't been getting enough water. Why did they both do that? Did you do that together on purpose?
I just didn't want to like, screw.
You're scared of trains?
I would want to that one.
Because they're all crazy.
No, I'm not going that one.
Right, well, we're back at the paid job tomorrow, so we need lunches. So we've been continuing the theme of using what we've got. We've been digging through the freezers and we've pulled out a nice big plate of pheasant and hare and a nice big plate of the pigeon breasts that we got the other day. And then we're down to our last pack of belly pork and our last pack of streaky bacon just to add some fat to it because the game's really lean meat. So we're going to get that through the mincer, see what it looks like minced once. Might have to mince it twice, but we'll get it through the mincer, see what it looks like. Right, so that's all the pigeon breast minced up, and as you can see there's no fat in that whatsoever, so that's why we just add the streaky bacon and the pork belly just to get it a bit extra fat. If we do need some more, we've got our own lard there that we can add if we need to, but I don't think we need to. I think there's going to be enough fat there to the meat we've got. Right, well that's all the meaty ingredients minced up. I'm going to get that all mixed up so it's nice. It's a nice coarse mix. We're only going to mix it once because we like it nice and coarse and it looks beautiful as it is. So we won't need to do it again. So we're going to get all that mixed in before I pass you over to Tracy and she can add all the rest of the ingredients.
Before we do anything, we need to know how much meat we're dealing with. I'm going to say there's about 1 kilo there, but we are going to wait. More than that, apparently. Stephen already knows. I was right in that there's kilos there. There's 2 kilos, not 1. So 2 kilos. So what I'm going to try and do is make 2 loaves out of this. One we'll use this week and one we'll use at another time. They should freeze absolutely well. I will slice them to freeze. But seeing as though Stephen's already has his hands in the mix, I'm going to add the ingredients and he's going to continue mixing. Thinking there was going to be about 1 kilo, I've weighed out 100 grams of rolled oats, so I'm just going to add those in and weigh out about another 50 to 75 grams while Stephen continues mixing that. Now obviously I'd done 100 grams for 1 kilo. I will add anything up to 200 grams, but I don't want to put too much in and make it too dry. Before we add the rest of the oats in, let's start getting the eggs in.
Bang it in, Buster.
I put 3 eggs in. I'm going to have to go and grab some more, so continue. Right, the rest of the oats are in. 2 more eggs. We've got 1 in reserve if we need it. And there's actually some onions here that have been fried off in some extra pork fat, but they've been allowed to cool. So we're going to add those in as well. Now, those of you might remember earlier in the video, we did some sage salt, which I've just given another 30 minutes to make sure it's completely dry because it had been left overnight. And we're going to add in a teaspoon to start off with, and then we'll see how we go. In fact, we'll just go for 2, and then we're going to pop in what we've got left of this Worcestershire sauce, which is not very much, and I've just put in 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and I think that'll about do it. We want to keep the flavour of the meat, so you can go ahead with that. That bottle's going to go in the recycle anyway. Right, that's everything. Let's give it a whirl, see what it ends up tasting like. We've never made this one before, so fingers crossed.
It looks lovely like it is. Make burgers or anything out of it.
And then I'm going to split this between 2 baking pans, and we're going to cook them for, I don't know, maybe 70-75 minutes at about 180. I'll just keep checking it. So I'll show you at the end. Worked out absolutely perfect for the 2 trays that I've got. I don't know if you need to put some tin foil on the top, but I'm going to anyway because they're going to be in for at least an hour, I would say, and I just don't want them to burn on the top. And what I will do is I've got a little bit of homemade sauce. I think it's like a barbecue style still that's left in the fridge, or ketchup. Might just mix the 2 together and I'll glaze them with that after maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes, something like that. So I'll show you them once they're out and once they're cooked.
Right, well, it's Monday tea time. Just got back from work. First day back on the paid job after a week off, so thought we'll keep moving so I don't sit down or I won't want to get back up. So I came down here to start on this yesterday, but didn't have all the stuff I needed. So this is behind me is the goat's pen where they're currently at. So I'm just going to extend it to the outer perimeter there and free up a few of these because I need to make another pen for some chickens that we've got rogue, which we've got a plan with. So yeah, my idea tonight is get this section down along here, goes all the way down there to the pallet fence, what you can see through it there, and then all this will be opened up and I'm just going to fence it off. We had the chickens in there. It's actually two sections where Tracy stood and then a section over there. So the section over there is still going to be for the chickens, or I might extend it for the pigs, and we're just going to put this extra area into the goats. It'll give them a lot more shade because they've got no shade up there really once the sun's in certain spots. There's a nice shaded tree area here for them, and I'm sure they'll be quite happy with it if I get it done tonight anyway. Right, well, that's a couple of hours, good job done. It's not the prettiest of jobs, but this area is never going to be the prettiest of areas with us using this Harris fencing to block stuff off. But we've extended it into the trees, maybe another 30-40% of what they had. So it's given them a bit more shade, a bit more, well, all trees anyway, they had no trees in here. And it's also freed us up for these panels that I'm going to make another chicken area with to catch the chickens that keep going rogue, and put them in there so we can collect the eggs off them as well, because they are laying but we just don't know where, and things are having them like magpies, maybe rodents, I think magpies, but they're getting to them before we do. So we'll get them, maybe not tonight, but we'll get this knocked up, get them locked away and start getting some more eggs.
Autumn's definitely whispering in the ear. Stephen said last night he couldn't get this gate open for the pigs, and I think we've acquired or understand why now. So there's been a mole activity overnight, and randomly last night I actually found a mole dead on one of, oh my goodness, sorry, I just had the shock of my life. I didn't realise you were stood watching, listening. It's all happening. Yes, I found a mole on the vegetable bed dead, so maybe that's must be its friend, because that's freshly made overnight. Anyway, pigs are fine this morning, and somebody's wondering why they're not getting food. Why are you on your own? I have to admit, it's still so this is where Stephen was working last night. It still is looking a little bit like the unloved area, which is very difficult because there's not a lot we can do for some of the things here. But aside from that, I have to say, this bit of fence that's now been taken out, which the chickens used to be on the other side at one point, and I'm sure they will again, that gave me a bit of confidence that, because that cow that we've just seen is literally on the other side of that fence there, and having two gave me a little bit of confidence of them of them not getting in. But now there's a big gap and we're out to work all day. It does make me wonder. Goats aren't out yet, I'm just doing my rounds. So none of the chickens have been let out yet, so, and this is the one that Stephen's making the pen for. Well, there's this one, the black one, that always seem to escape. So that's the next thing that's on the agenda, to get these guys housed, because they are laying. As he said, we keep finding the shells after the magpies or the rodents, whatever it is, have finished with them. So they're definitely laying somewhere, and given that we're really needing those eggs, it's extra important for us to try and figure out, well, not figure out where they're laying, to contain them, I guess. Are you listening? It's a shame because they do love roaming around, but it's just not an option if we don't know where the eggs are being laid.
Right, well, it's Wednesday night, it's 7:15, we're just getting finished up for the night. We're just at the side of the barn where the Welsomers currently live, just at the back of the greenhouse, because we've been working on Project Rogue Chicken. So as we've said, there's a few chickens kicking about. We're not getting a lot of eggs, so we're trying to catch them up, but every time we put them in a pen, they just escape. So this is the solution we've come up with. Right, so it's just made out of 5 bits of Harris fencing which we acquired when we dismantled the goat pen on Monday night and made that a bit bigger. And this one was on the goats because years ago I cut a slice out the middle of it and put a door on it, well, a gate on it like that. So it's just a piece of Harris fencing, cut a piece out the middle, screwed 2 pieces of wood in just to make the gate so it's easier to get in and out. So I've just stole that off the goat, swapped it with another one, and then just screwed everything in, 2 on the top on an angle so it's nice and high for us when we go in up against this old structure that we had. So we're using this structure which I built years ago, and it's been used for all sorts, housing animals, processing animals, but it's a bit run down now, so it won't be used for anything like that again, but it's perfect to keep these rogue chickens in. So it already had this door on. It just had a big hole in the bottom of it which I've just fixed, and then inside I've just added a nice thick layer of sawdust, a couple of perches there, a nice low one for the older ones, high one for the bit more adventurous of the chickens that we come in. And on this side I've just put a nice raised nest box in, just made out of an old water tank that we had kicking around in the barn, so it's made good use of that. Just screwed a piece of board in to keep all the sawdust from falling out. So hopefully when we catch them up and put them in, we'll be able to see what actually eggs we're getting. So my plan is, well, actually, first of all, I'm going to put some wire or some mesh across these because I've blocked all the bottom off so they can't get out. I've blocked all the gate, made that a bit higher, and no matter look, they'll just jump through there. So before they come in here, I'm going to block all that off. So we won't be catching them tonight. That'll be probably tomorrow night. So my idea is to catch up. We've got, I think, 2 black ones and a white one, which are rogue, and they lay like a olivey coloured egg, so we know which ones they're laying. And we've also got a black one and a white one and a lavender aracuna in with the Rhode Island Red. So I think we're going to take them out of there and put them in here. Then we'll know exactly which ones are laying because we'll know which eggs are which. And then the majority of the Rhode Island Reds will be staying in there, and we'll know exactly how many eggs we're getting off them. So that'll tell us whether we're going to keep them or just get rid. Right, so we've just come back over to the oil tank area where we put them 4 Rhode Island Reds in to see which ones were laying. They've been laying out 10 days and we've had 4 eggs in them 10 days. So we actually think there's only one of them laying. So we've caught her on the nest a few times, like last week, but we didn't mark her up because there was no eggs when she got off it. So we're going to try and wait to catch her on the nest, mark her up with some purple spray, and then we'll take her out, put her somewhere else, and then if we don't get any eggs off the other 3, we'll know which ones they are and we'll deal with them accordingly. Got them. They're going to have to start laying in that nest box I made them. Right, well, we've just spent an hour rounding up the rogue chickens. This was the last one, the hardest one to catch. So we've got 2 full white ones, 2 fully black, and 2 black with copper necks. So we pretty much know what colour eggs these are laying, and we know that a few of them are laying outside, that we're not getting the eggs off. So hopefully in the next few days, egg production will pick up. So they'll probably be off for a few days till they find the feed. They've got the water, they've got the food, they've got no cockerels in here messing them around. So hopefully they'll be as happy as Larry and they'll start giving us some eggs. Right, well, that's it for this week. We've got a busy weekend ahead, so we'll see you in the next one.